My friend, I was told to play a little bit more bass, so all these things I was just kind of doing, they're doing different motions like hammer-ons or pull-offs. Technique over here like plucking down or popping out. You can do 2-finger pops, 3-finger pops, triplets, tuplet, or 8th note, or 16th note with 4 fingers. These are advanced or intermediate things that when you don't know of them, you don't know how to incorporate them into the playing in the beginning. That's what this series is about. I'm going to try to keep this relatively short, and we're going to talk about using the circle of fifths just for our sharps, meaning C major, G major, D major, A major, E major, B major, F sharp major, C sharp major. Each one of these functions allows us to try different fingerings for each way of going with our 4 fingers for 4 frets. Essentially, if you can think of the bass as having quadrants of 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, you find yourself at the P8 or the octave. Perfect 8. The only other perfect unisons that we would have from C major, D minor, E minor, F major, and then G major. So if we know a 1, 4, and a 5, or 1, 5, and a 4 in that case, then we can pretty much get around this whole thing knowing that our low G is also up here at our high G, which makes for some pretty cool things for bass. If you watch the first session video from this, you would see we did a 1, 3, 5 with a half step. Well, if you could do that half step here, why couldn't you do that low note for G and then go up here and complete a kind of feeling like this? When you speed them up, a lot of these things are just rudimentary stuff when you go slow, medium, and fast, and you build up a kind of repertoire or vocabulary. That's the whole point of this series. So today, what we're going to talk about is how to see the bass through the eyes of either the 4-string or the 5-string. People never ask me all the time, hey, Wago, what's the difference between a 4 and a 5-string? Actually, I do get a lot of students that ask that. My answer is different than many. I say start with a 5-string. Why? When you start out with a teacher, they generally start teaching you about the names of the strings. Who cares if you add one more? E, A, D, and G is going to be like every other bass, so you're pretty much going to learn the 4-string regardless. When we know that we have 4 strings up here that are going to be our primary, that just leaves the 5th string almost like a little bit of nuance. And what happens is if you don't play that 5th string and you only play these 4 strings, that's totally fine. What you'll find out is most of the genres that we use as bass players consist of like phrases. So if we're doing a phrase in the key of C, doing C and maybe that 3rd, and then rather than just going to the 5th alone, we can go up to the 6th. That would give us kind of a pentatonic-y thing. C, D, E, G, A is our 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So that makes a pentatonic. That kind of covers what we did in our last video. And then as far as like utilizing it through the circle of fifths, if we had 1, 3, 5, 6, 1, 3, 5, 6, 1, 3, 5, 6, 1, 3, 5, 6, 1, 3, 5, 6. Also, if you can name them too, it would be amazing. 1, C, E, G, A. When you go through the process of doing it slow, you will be amazed at where you will be in 3 months from now if you do this every day for 5 minutes. Mind-blowingly, using the right fingers, the different movements, and then coordinating both of your hands together. I know it's easier said than done, but that's just the rub. Clocking hours is the way that you achieve how to play different types of things. Also, go get lessons, play with other people, read books, watch videos. You're probably doing it. Okay, so if we're going through here and we wanted to do just a simple motion of expressing ourselves, today's concept is taking what we learned from the circle of fifths, being able to do a half-step slide, 1, 3, 5, adding the 6, 1, 3, dun, 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 dun. This is very much bluesy. So the concept is it does not matter where you play this to this to this to this. What we're looking for is going from the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 6. Is that right? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So sometimes we'll do a 6 up to a flat 7 or a minor 7 and back. But you can have fun with it any way you choose, as long as you're choosing those 5 notes. So we might influence that. We're going to put that one there. Why not? So A sharp or B flat, B, C. C can also go to D and then to E, but we have a D here. So if you want to influence the D, that's fine. We'll put a little bit of D, because that's a second. And the third, we skip our 4th, we play our 5th. Now, granted, the 5th's up here. We can also do a little bit of G up there. This is our A, and then we do have, we're not going to call it an A sharp, even though it is. We need to call it a B flat, because enharmonically speaking, there are no sharps and flats in the key of C. Therefore, when we flatten the major 7th, which is the B, we're going to want to go to the B flat, and that's going to change the tonality into a dominant 7th, giving us that tone rather than the higher note. So, there's what a half step could be, or you could do. Any variation that you want to do. And the reason why we're capable of doing these is because we slow it down from 140 to like 60 or 70 and do C, E, G. And when we get it going faster, we might add a little flair with rhythm with our percussion hand. Otherwise, the purpose of today's session is to show you how to do that lick and simply move it down. Now, I'm not going to write the notes out because it might get muddled, but we've got a note here, faux show. We got a note here, a note here, a note here, and then a note here. The pattern is the exact same, except for now you're playing a G, a B, a D, an E, and then an F. So it feels like... And guess what? It sounds the exact same, except now it's tonicified on the G rather than the C. So how do you use this with your circle of fifths? To practice the practice of practicing, which is what we're here for. Boring. But I gotta tell you, once you do these all the way through, and you can then name all these notes, knowing what your 3rd, your 6th is, each time, E, G sharp, B, knowing exactly where these notes are going and having your D sharp. If you can see how having your C sharp into a D and then floating it backwards is a good idea up here, then maybe it is a good idea down there, which leads us to our next video. We're going to talk about octaves. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, thumbs up, subscribe. If you have more questions about how to use the 1, 3, 5, 6, flat 7, 6, 5, 3 to create a blues or a bebop, Dorian, or a just country groove, then please ask in the comment section. The last thing I'm going to leave you on, next video is going to be about octaves, playing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the P8, same note, so they're not quite in unison, but they are the same note, just a pitch higher. And then last thing I'm going to leave you on, the difference between this 5 string, you can play that same gosh darn tootin' thing down here. Woo! Feel how low that is? All it does is give you a lower register. Now, if you weren't playing something busy and you're just starting out, let's say we're playing C, then we play G, and then we play D. We can move those down and have C, G, 1, 5, 1, 5. Remembering to try and keep your 1 finger and your 3 finger playing together and your 2 finger and your 4 finger playing together. If want, and you're already at a point this time with your playing that you can stop playing your notes with individual fingers and start walking your bass, it looks like this. The aforementioned video talks about pulling through the note down to the string and landing on it like a bird falling off a telephone wire directly on the string below. It'll help you keep spaced, and it'll give you a place onto which you will start doing mechanisms that you will remember, because quite literally, this is just clocking hours and playing muscle memory. Here's what it looks like. Starting to sound like country. Yee-hoo! The reason why I would say don't limit yourself with just a 4-string, yeah, you can do C, G, C, G, but now you could go G, D, G, D. And depending on who you're playing with and what you're playing, what type of genre, having a lower note register is awesome. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, put something ridiculously cool in the comment section, and tune in for the next one, which will be about octaves. Aloha!